Hello, Des here. Hola to my viewers in Argentina. Muchas gracias, and thank you so much for coming back to visit me on my channel, and welcome if you're new around here. If you'd like to watch me do this autumn look for my over 50 face, then please keep watching. So I've prepped my skin. I've got my moisturiser slash vitamin C and SPF on. If you're interested, by the way, in the vitamin C powder that I'm using, which I mix with my moisturiser, which has SPF in it, then I'll link the video in which I talk about that in the description box down below. So I'm going to start, I think, because this is a get ready with me slash autumn makeup and I'm going to be going out this evening, I'm going to start with the Hollywood Flawless Filter by Charlotte Tilbury, which I've recently rediscovered. I think because a lot of YouTubers that I watch do use it and swear by it, I thought, well, let's go back to it. I did used to use it, but then I wasn't really sure whether it was doing anything. But anyway, we want to look glowy. We're going out. It's a Saturday night, or rather it's a Saturday morning when I'm filming this. So we're going to start with applying this, and I'm just going to put it on my cheeks, I think. Well, I'm going to put it on all over, really, and I'm just going to do that, and then I will blend, I will pop that on, just doing it with my fingers, and then I'm going to put my foundation over the top. I really struggle with putting highlighter on over makeup because I'm always worried about it settling into my little fine lines. So for my foundation, I'm going to use the number 7 Lift and Illuminate Triple Serum Foundation, which is this one in the shade, I'll put the shade down below if you can't see anything without my glasses. So I've just popped a couple of pumps on my hand, and I'm going to take my beauty blender, which I've moistened a bit, and I'm going to apply it. I was a bit anti-beauty blender when I first got it. It was given to me as a gift, but actually I found that it does apply foundation really well, and I think particularly medium coverage. I don't know whether it would be any good with a more liquid or maybe a fluidy type foundation, but because this is a bit thicker and a bit more medium coverage, I think that goes on really well. I must say I really love this foundation. I think it's a great coverage. It's not too full, it's not too light. For this time of year, as we're coming into autumn, or we're just in autumn now, I think it's really good. Now let me just check. I'm going to use my fantastic mirror, which is a 10 by 10, which shows up every blemish, every pore, every hair, the full Monty. Let's just see whether that's going. See, I think that has covered it pretty well. I mean, is it settling into fine lines? Oops, actually no, I haven't quite done it. See, this is why this mirror is so helpful. There we are. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. This mirror is also really, really good for once you've applied concealer to see whether it's settled anywhere, which is what we're going to do next. So I'm going to use my, let me find it now, where's it gone? Ah, here it is. So I've got 2 concealers that I'm using at the moment. And again, they've been all over YouTube. And this one is the Lancôme Teint Idole Ultra Wear, and it's that one there. It was actually quite difficult to get hold of. It seemed to be more available in the States than it was here, which is a bit random. Anyway, seeing as how we're just next door to France. But anyway, this is it. I will link the... Oh, it's actually quite difficult to get the doe foot out of the bottle. I can't remember what shade I am, but I will pop it down below for you. Looks like this. And I'm going to just dot it around my eyes like that. Just pop it on some of my blemishes, and there we have it. I think it's a really nice colour, and the coverage is, again, it's very, is it creamy? It is quite creamy. Right, so I'm going to apply it with my beauty blender. I'm just going to, and I always put it on my eyelid as well, because I find that it acts as a primer. I don't use a primer. I've never really got on with primers. I've never found a primer that really works for me. I mean, part of my problem is because I am allergic to certain ingredients, and anything that's got the word parfum in it, which is a generic French term for fragrance, I cannot put on my skin because I don't know whether it's going to have citral or limonene or geraniol or any of these things that I'm allergic to, which is a pain in the baton. But luckily, well, anyway, so that's why I don't use primer. So this is what I do to prime my eyelids. Right, let's check in my fantastic mirror to see how we're doing. Yes, do you know, you see, I think that's amazing. I haven't looked in the mirror, but I don't know if you can see. Look how amazing. It hasn't settled into fine lines at all, has it? It's really, really good. Love that. And it's a decent coverage. Yeah, I mean, that is one of the winners of the concealer world. I think it really is an excellent concealer. So now that I've put my concealer on, including on my eyelids, I then finish that off with a setting powder. And I use the Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder in 2 medium. I can actually read that on the back of the pan. And it's this, you can see it's very well used, and it's Charlotte Tilbury. And I get this little, well actually it's not a little brush, it's a really, really great brush for setting concealer, I think, because it's got that domed shape. But it's nice and thick as well. So then I just pat it on around, I have to slightly look in the mirror though, pop it on around here just to set everything. Yeah, I've really noticed that my skin has been quite greasy of late, and I think it's possibly because it's the summer, so I've had to really pare down my skincare to just a very simple moisturiser or containing an SPF, nothing too heavy. But actually, now that we're coming into autumn, it seems to have calmed down a bit now, so it's not quite as greasy. But anyway, there we are. Let's just have another look in the mirror, make sure that it's all looking okay. Oh, there's a little hair there. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Once I start putting my eyeshadow on, there's bound to be a bit of fallout, but we'll worry about that later. Okay, so we've primed our eyelids now, so the next thing we're going to do is eyebrows. So for my eyebrows, I use Bobbi Brown in Saddle, and it's very well used, as you can see. And I have tried and tried to use an eyebrow pencil. I just cannot do it. I think I'm just too cack-handed. I really can't draw in brows effectively. So this is my best method of filling in my brows. And this is what I do. So I just use a nice, let me just show you the brush actually, a nice stiff angled brush. That really does the bizzo. Now obviously at the moment, now that I've done that, they look too strong for the look that I'm after. I don't like too strong brows. But then I get out one of my brow gels, and in this case I'm going to use the Hourglass, and that diffuses it. So that's what I do after that, to sort of diffuse the colour a bit, as well as kind of making them look a bit thicker. It's funny, you know, back in the day, thick eyebrows were really not a thing when I was growing up at all. In fact, I once shaved them off. I mean, it was ridiculous because they were never that thick anyway. In fact, they were quite sparse even when I was young. But eyebrows were just not a thing. In fact, women did shave them off and then they would draw them back on, a bit like in the 1920s, in the Twiggy days, I think. Anyway, so there we are. So that's the brows. Now, the next thing we're going to do, and this, I'm a real convert to this. I never thought that I would do this. I honestly didn't think. And actually, the lovely, what's her name? And the lovely Jules from Just Being Jules, she says she doesn't get on with a white pencil at all. And she said she was going to show, she said she was going to show that in one of her next videos. But anyway, I think this is great. I mean, you've got to be careful how you put it on, because what you don't want is it to go underneath on the skin. You just want it in the waterline. So this is what I do. I have to be super careful to just get it in the waterline. But because my eyes have a tendency to be a bit red, I think it really whitens them, or helps to whiten them. So just very, very carefully. Actually, let's see if you can see the difference. Yeah, I mean, can you see the difference there? Maybe you can't, I don't know. But I think it really does show. Let's turn it round this way. Oh, I don't know. Now I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Let's do it. There we are. Oh, just being careful. Maybe I didn't put enough in. Let's do this one. I may have gone overboard a bit. think that does make a difference, actually. I mean, maybe it looks a bit unnatural at the moment. Once you've got all the makeup on, well, we'll have a look. If it looks rubbish, I'll take it off again. So we've done the waterline. The next thing I think we'll do before we do any other makeup is we'll do the upper waterline in a black pencil. So this is the tight lining. So we're tight lining the upper waterline. Oh, I know it looks a bit horrible, so look away now if you can't bear it. So I've tight lined with the Liner by L'Oreal, which I think is a really great pencil. It's also good for doing actual eyeliner as well, which we may do later. We'll see how we get on. For my eyeshadow, I'm going to use the 9-pan palette Hazy by Sigma, this one here, which I haven't used for quite some time. And it's got some lovely plummy tones, so that's what we're going to go with today. So we're going to start with, I'm going to use this brush, which is, I think, a Space NK, this one here. So this is a nice, this is a kind of domed, well, sort of semi-roundish brush, nice and thick in terms of its bristles, but soft as well. And it really packs the colour on nicely onto the eyelid, which is what I'm going to start with. So we're going to go with, on the eyelid, we're going to go with this one here, which is called Vervain, I think, this one. So I'm just going to pack that on and then pop it on my eyelid like this. It's quite dark, but once it's blended out, I think it will be okay. And then we're going to put a bit more on. Pack that on over here. I don't think we need to worry too much about it being perfect at the moment. We can always finesse it once we've got it all on. Okay, so that's the eyelids. Then we're going to go with, we're going to do the transition shade now with this lovely brush by, I love this brush. It comes in a set, that's the only trouble. So I've only got one of it. I don't really want to buy a whole new set just to get this brush. This is a Real Techniques. And we're going to use the Petal colour, which is this one here. So we're going to pop that on. And again, we're not going to be too worried about how it's going on, but it's really sort of almost dabbing it. Dab, 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 dab around that eye, and then dab down the other eye like this. And then we'll be blending in a minute anyway, so that's all good. Right, let's just check in the mirror how that's looking. Yeah, I mean, in a way, I know, ooh, a bit bonks there. It's difficult to tell one from the other, to be honest, but once they're blended in, yeah, I've gone a bit mad there, but not to worry, we're going to blend it in now. So let's get the blending brush. Ah, yes, this is another really nice brush. This is by Spectrum, and it's an 806. It's this one here, and it's really, really good for blending. So we'll just blend that out. And then what we'll do is we'll tidy these areas up in a minute. So we'll just blend, blend, blend first, just to get the colours all seamlessly moving from dark to lighter. Now, I think this kind of eye makeup is really good for older women, mature old skin, because I mean, for me, I'm not trying to differentiate too much from one bit of my eye to the other, really. I mean, it's true to say I've got hooded eyes because my eyes are wrinkly, but they're not of themselves hooded. They never were deep set, if you like. I think that's what we used to call them back in the day. We used to call them hooded. We used to just call them deep set eyes. And I think that's what I don't have. But I do have wrinkly eyes, and also I think I'm right in saying that my left eye, I don't know if you can see at the moment, but I think my left eye is droopier than my right, or is it the other way around? Anyway, one of my eyes is droopier, and I can see that on photos. You can see there's a lot more folds of skin. So in a way, I kind of ignore the folds of skin, and I just do the kind of eye makeup that I like, which is pretty simple, and it tends to have a smoky effect. The smoky eye is what I like. I tend not to like on me, although I think it looks fantastic on other women, is a big contrast between the colour of my lid and then some eyeliner and then a transition shade. I don't really like all those different colours. I prefer very muted tones on my eyes. I think it looks fantastic on other women. And I have tried to put on a much lighter colour on my eyelid and then a darker one in my crease, but it just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to work for me, or I don't feel comfortable with it. I'm just going to tidy that up with a cotton bud. So, ooh. So the final colour I'm going to use from the palette is to do my eyeliner. I'm going to use Melancholy, which is this one right here. I'm going to use my lovely thin brush, which is this one. I think it's by e.l.f. I'm going to do it off camera and I'll be back in a few moments. Now that I've used that darkest colour as an eyeliner, I'm now going to go over it with the Liner pencil from L'Oreal just to really deepen that look. So now I've put the liner on top of the eyeliner powder that I put on. I think what I might do to really make it a bit more special is to add a bit of colour underneath my eyes, and I think we will use the same. Actually, maybe the Melancholy might be too dark. I think we might try the one that we used in the transition. So we're going to do that. I'm going to use the eyeliner brush so that I get a nice thin line. Let's see how that looks. Because then we're kind of taking it from here down to here. Let's see how that looks, like that, just to make it, and then we will do some blending when we've done that. So we're kind of going from where the transition stopped, and actually we can tidy up that transition on the other side just to make it all seamless, and then we'll do a bit of, oh gosh, the wrinkly old skin. We'll do a bit of blending after that, just to make sure that it doesn't look like a harsh line, which it does at the moment. Right, so we'll go back with the blending brush and try and blend out. Oh, actually we might have gone a bit. A good old cotton buds. So let's just check for fallout. Oh, it's not too bad actually, maybe a tiny bit. Where's my, just get my nice brush, make sure that's all gone. So the eyes are nearly finished, but obviously I've got to put mascara on. So what I'm going to start to do before I put my main mascara on is I'm going to put my Lash Paradise primer on. So this is a primer I do actually use, and I think it really does make a difference to make my lashes a bit thicker, because they're quite long, but they're still not that sparse. Sorry, they are sparse, they're not that thick. So I'd like to thicken them up a bit, and this really helps. So let's just do that. Just pop a coat on, then I'm going to let it dry while I finish off the rest of my face. So let's pop that on. Looks a bit weird, but it really does the bizzo. There we are. Ooh, and we'll let that dry. Okay, so that's on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go in with the bronzer. So I use this fab brush from Morphe, this one here, and I will list it down below for you, and I get my trusty Bobbi Brown Stone Street, which I absolutely love and have used it very, very well this year. I've only had it a few months, but I really have used it a lot. And it's a great colour for a cool toned skin, I think. So then I pop that on. I kind of use it as a contour, to be honest. I mean, I think for me, bronzer, it's not so much making me look a bit browner. It's more about just giving some definition to my face, because you know what happens when you get older, especially at my age, and I'm well over 60, is your features sort of diminish a bit, their strength. I mean, I never had that strong features anyway, but like I say, my brows were quite sparse, and my colouring wasn't that strong, although I think I probably had darker skin when I was younger. Well, I used to be in the sun quite a lot, but I just feel like I've lost the ability to wear strong colours. So back in the day I would wear strong pinks and strong reds, cool toned mine, but I felt that I could wear them because my hair was much darker, or naturally dark, and I just felt I could wear them. But now I cannot wear a sort of a puce lipstick or a really red lip, I have to mute it a bit. I have to tone it down a bit because it just doesn't seem to look right on my skin. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Let's put some definition on. So I always do this a bit. I'll put a bit round my chin just to minimise the old double chins, and a bit up here. And there we are. So for blusher, we're going to use the Hourglass. Oh, I love it so much, the Luminous Flush. I must get hold of that other Hourglass one that Tamara's Timeless Beauty is always recommending. But anyway, this is the one I have. And I do really love it. And I'm going to put it on up here. Like that, being careful not to come too far down. I mean, I know it's not the end of the world if you put it on the apples of your cheeks, which is what we always do. But to be honest, I suppose because our apples, as we get older and we've got wrinkly, mature skin, they kind of droop a bit. Everything droops. That's gravity for you. Maybe it's not such a good idea to put it too far down because we are trying to lift everything just to make it look not quite as saggy as it normally would. So we've got the blusher on. We're now going to blend. And I was a bit ambivalent about this brush when I first got it, but I must say I really do like it. It's a Charlotte Tilbury. It's great for blending. It's very soft. I suppose it's the kabuki style brush, isn't it? And it's absolutely fantastic for blending because it's nice and short, which I like. So it's really easy to hold and get some kind of purchase on. And I just go blend all around like this. And yeah, it's funny. If I was shaving, well actually I do shave my face, but if I was a bloke and I was going to shave it, this would be an amazing shaving brush because it's really soft. I love it. Oh. So there we are, we've blended. So I've blended, I'm going to go off camera, do my eyelashes, and then we'll finish off. I've put 2 coats of this fab mascara, the Sky High Maybelline mascara, which I really love. And on my bottom lashes, I use the matte Giga Black extended play, this one, which really doesn't smudge. And I don't know if you can see, I'm going to come a bit closer. Can you see now the white that I put in the waterline, the lower waterline? I think you can see it, but only if you're looking for it, if you know what I mean. So I think if you look at it, if you look at my eye, it looks bright, and I think that's what we're trying to achieve with that white pencil. We're going to finish off with lipstick, and we're going to use the Lisa Eldridge Velvet Blush, but instead of applying it from the bullet, I'm going to use my fingers because I find it shears it out a bit and looks a little bit less strong, which is the look I'm after. And you know what, I might even put some on my cheeks as well. It's just such a fabulous colour. This is it here. Something really lovely about applying it with your finger. You can kind of get a sort of I'm just going to get a bit more. You can kind of get that, you can kind of get that nice sort of, I was going to say bitten lips look. I don't know whether that's really what I want to say, but it just shears it out, which I really like. You see what I mean? It just looks softer. I am going to put one of her lip glosses on the top afterwards. I just love that colour. And because I love it so much, I'm going to put a bit on my cheeks as well. I know I've already got some blusher on, but we're just going to add a little bit more. So I've just put a bit more on my finger. I'm just going to dot it here, like that. And then I'll just wipe my finger. Oh, dropping everything today. We're just going to blend that out a bit with the brush, I think, as well, because that might help just a little bit. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I'll be back. So here's the finished look, and you can see, if I come closer, the eyes are nice and muted, they're smoky. The colour blending has worked well. There's not one colour standing out too much above the other, which is what I was trying to achieve. I do think the white pencil in the waterline has definitely helped. And I've added the Lucent Lip Colour by Lisa Eldridge, this one here. I think it's in Muse, but I'll put all the details down below for you, which I think just gives it a nice finish. I've added some jewellery and a jumper. So there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. I've really enjoyed putting this autumn look together. It really does feel like autumn now in London, unfortunately. It's got a lot cooler, hence the jumper. Last time I filmed was about 3 weeks ago and I was wearing a thin cotton jumper. Now I'm wearing an alpaca jumper. I'll put the details down below for you if you're interested. It's from Arquette. I really like it. Anyway, thanks again so much for watching, and if you have enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and better yet, subscribing to the channel. And as I said, leave me a comment below. I'd love to know what you think. I'd really love to know what kind of makeup you enjoy wearing in the autumn. And thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!